Ladies and guys who want to hear the best goddamn interview on the fucking internet, and to hear author of the best Tinder guide on the internet, this is the Kill You're in a Loser show, and I sat down with BlackDragon, Caleb Jones. We did it, guys. We got the white whale. A lot of you follow BlackDragon. He's an absolutely fucking legendary guy when it comes to open relationships, dating, getting laid, all that kind of good stuff. And he's someone that's had a huge influence on my own life. He, along with Good Looking Loser, a bunch of my philosophies come from those two guys, especially my concepts about avoiding drama, screening out drama, open relationships, making that kind of stuff work. This guy has absolutely taught me like a ton of what I know. So it felt incredibly surreal to sit down with him, someone that's had such a huge impact on my life, and just be able to kind of shoot the shit and talk about some of our philosophies, how we might differ, how we overlap. Bunch of good stuff in there. He answered a couple of questions from you guys, so there's a bunch of that sort of stuff in there if you want to listen to that. I will stop rambling. I'm still kind of excited. I'm full of fucking adrenaline. This was a great interview. I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to record this, so I'm jittery. I'm fucking excited. Enjoy, guys. Your name is incredibly fucking relevant to a point that I wanted to make, that I feel like you are my white whale that I finally fucking, Caleb from Moby Dick?
Yeah, I do.
You feel like my white whale, mate, because you, for the last probably 6 years, have had a very big impact on my life. And you're one of two people that I most wanted to sit down with, the other one being Good Looking Loser. And
Yeah, I know Chris. He's a good guy.
this feels very fucking surreal, I got to be honest, in a
Cool.
really good way. Very vindicating, very validating for the last 6 years of self-improvement that I've gone through. And I guess more than anything, I want to say thank you to you. Thank you for everything you've written. Thank you for permission to do open relationships, very much so. That was very much coming from you, permission to not do the traditional monogamy, which had not worked out for me for, God, like the 9 years that I tried it in 3 separate occasions. So
That's most guys.
yeah. And I'm very interested that you just said the word most guys, because so my guys gave me a bunch of questions. And by the way, like, I don't usually do an introduction with these. We just kind of start chatting, and whenever it's interesting, I record an intro later.
Cool.
On that note, how long can you talk for? Like, do you have a hard out?
I've got as much time as you need today.
6 hours,
Well,
let's fucking get
within yeah, you see, I always have to clarify that. Yeah,
Yeah, no, don't say that to me. Do not say that to me.
I know.
I could go on forever.
I'm pretty good on time today. I set aside time for this.
Okay. If you we'll do like a secret code. You just say like, I can't deal with this shit anymore, and that'll be our secret code, and then I'll know, like, okay, done. But when I said that I was going to sit down with you, a bunch of my guys gave me like a bunch of questions and said, okay, you got to ask him this, you got to ask him this, you got to ask him this. And one of the ones that came up the most was, how come he says something different to you, Andy? Which one of you is correct? And so I wanted to go through these sort of questions with you and say, you say to do this on this particular topic, I say to do this. Do you, take a step back, do you find that people email you or hit you up and say, hey, Caleb, what you're saying is completely different to this other person? Which one of you is correct? Like, do people want to
that's happened.
instigate
Yeah,
those
it doesn't happen a
discussions?
lot, but that has happened. Sure.
I get that so much. I think because I reference so much the people that have had an influence on me, like you, Good Looking Loser, etc. And so I will get people coming and saying, hey, Caleb says that monogamy can never work. And I'm coming to you and saying, like, what if I want to do monogamy? And how come you're not saying exactly what Caleb says? And it's like, well, first of all, because Caleb is saying what's worked for him, what he advocates, his philosophy. And if you gel with that, go with that. I'm saying what's worked for me, my philosophy. And if there's a little bit of I prefer to look at like the overlap on the Venn diagram of where our philosophies line up. And other people will say, hey, but over here, this 10% you two don't agree on, or maybe you use slightly different language. Like you say monogamy.
Or the language is imprecise. So when you say
Correct.
monogamy, that can mean about 4 or 5 different things.
Yes.
That's why I usually say, not always, but usually say long-term monogamy. Short-term monogamy and serial monogamy does work for a percentage of people. There are some problems with it, but it can work. And so if a guy says serial monogamy is fine, yes, that can work. Fine is a difference of opinion, because there's drama and problems involved in serial monogamy you won't have with the stuff that I do. So you have to be guys asking these questions, be very precise their language. Monogamy can mean all kinds of things. That's why I try not to say, because I have a lot of nitpickers in my audience.
Yes.
I try not to say monogamy, because the guy will say, I have a monogamous girlfriend, been together 4 months, it's been great. Yes, of course. I'm talking about long-term monogamy. If you're going to be with a woman for the next 57 years of your life, and you're never going to touch another woman for the next 57 years, and she's never going to touch another man for the next 57. So anyway, so it's more than just, it's him or you, or it's also very precise language, which is difficult for a long time.
I like how much you clarify on your blog as well. You made it very specific, and I can back up your point here. You make it very specific in that article. We need to define work. We need to define the word work. The word work means that you don't cheat on each other ever. You
never break up or get divorced.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no fucking breakup.
Marriage or marital or settling down with someone.
Yep.
And then you could also throw in there, you're still happy. You're together for 25 years, but are you happy? Because I know a lot of people, not a lot, but I know a percentage of people, including people in my family, who have been with the same person for 15, 20, 25 years, but they're not happy. They're really unhappy. Yep. My parents just got divorced after 46 years of marriage because they were unhappy for 8 years of that. So that's another factor you could throw in there. But yes, you have to be very precise, or else you end up wasting a lot of your time in these debates because you're not talking about the same thing.
And on that topic, so I want to ask you something. I've spoken to a few content creators that have different philosophies on whether or not they're going to reply to comments. And you're someone that, I don't know if you're still doing it, but the last time I checked, you were like replying to people's comments. You get in the comments in your blog, and you will like debate with people.
Yes.
I guess I want to ask you, and don't take this as like I guess I want to hand the floor to you. Why? Like, what does Caleb get out of that? Because for me, when I argue with dipshits, I feel like, I'm just in the mud wrestling. But you're obviously getting something out of it. And I guess as someone who doesn't like to argue with people, I'm genuinely curious. Like, what do you get out of it?
Okay, so a few things. First is, I will respond to people who disagree with me. Matter of fact, those are the people I respond to first. Mm-hmm. But I do not allow ad hominem personal attacks.
Yep.
So that filters out 80% of the dipshits. If you say, this guy's a fucking idiot, delete, you're gone. So you can disagree with me and I will respond to you, but the one rule is you can't call me names, or you can't call people in my audience names, or, people I know names. You can't do that, because when you make a personal attack, that proves to me you have no point to make. So then I am wasting my time talking to you. So that's the first thing. So I can respond to comments, but not if they make personal attacks. We did those, just deleted and banned, and that you can do that on YouTube and things with one click. So that's not a big deal. So that's why I have a little more confidence in dealing with idiots, because I can delete the ones who are total idiots and have literally no point. First thing. Second thing is, I time all my work. I have different categories. I'm a time management consultant. Okay. So I spend on average 19 minutes a day on what I call engagement. That's YouTube comments, blog comments, comments on my Facebook group, comments on my SMIC forum. All those combined is about 19 minutes. I can take 19 minutes. I don't want to be Gary Vee and spend hours and hours a day responding to people. I have other shit to do. So if it only takes me 19 minutes and I'm not responding to people who are making personal attacks who clearly have no point, then I'm cool with it. And so within those two parameters, then yes, responding to people who are obviously and clearly wrong makes me look good, and it's good for my branding. So if I say, okay, I read an article, I know a guy who's monogamous. I know a guy, a guy. Out of the 150 people you know one who's made it work. Thank you for proving my point. And that's all I have to say. And everyone reading that goes, oh, shit. Not everyone. Most people reading that go, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, fuck. Because if one person's making a statement that disagrees with you, a percentage of the audience is making that same statement.
Sure.
So you're not responding just to one person. You're responding to that percentage of people in the audience who think that way. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Interesting, yeah. So you're saying it's more of a marketing thing? Because in my head, when I was trying to put myself in your shoes of like, why do some content creators reply to that? The only other option, or the only other answer I could come up with was maybe it helps you solidify and cement your own points. Like in debating, you obviously come up with arguments. Yes,
that's the reason I did it years ago. With the monogamy stuff particularly, there's a lot of other things people disagree about or don't like me saying. If I say America's collapsing, a lot of people, that bothers a lot of people too.
Oh, but,
yeah, there's a lot of things I say that are factual that people hate, which is fine. But with the monogamy stuff, yes, that was the reason I did it years ago. So I have been debating and talking about long-term monogamy, not working with thousands of men over the past, 12, 13 years now. Mm-hmm. And so I have a video and a blog post, which is the 49 objections people make to monogamy not working. And everything I've ever heard is in that list. So I can just point people to that list. So that's another reason I did it. And now I don't do that anymore. I don't spend a lot of time debating monogamy anymore. I do a little bit. But now it's just so obvious. And monogamy's gotten so worse. I mean, so much bad, so I can't talk. so much worse in the last few years. People don't defend it like they did, 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was in the pickup artist world, I've mentioned this. I was talking to pickup artists back when pickup artists was a big thing, 12 years. That's the world I came out of. And the pickup artist was saying, oh no, long-term monogamy works. It's fine as long as you find the right girl. These are pickup artists, not betas. Pickup artists, guys are getting laid. And they thought, so I had a lot of debates with them. So that's why I did it historically. So that's another reason. But yeah, the reason I do it now is branding.
Mm-hmm.
Again, within those two parameters, it only takes me 20 minutes a day. That's it. Not taking more time than that. I got shit to do. And if they're making personal attacks, I'm ignoring those guys.
Mm-hmm.
You have to actually make a real point, even if it's a dumb point. If you make a real point, disagree with me, even if it's a dumb point, factually an accurate point, I'll respond to you, sure. Within those two parameters.
I like that. On the topic of monogamy, I guess this is something that I'm still figuring out for myself. So me personally, I'm in a somewhat of a mishmash of what you talk about in an open relationship where my girlfriend and I sleep with girls together. So we fuck girls together, we date girls together like that.
That's called a threesome only relationship. That's why I call it.
Threesome only relationship, sure. I'm still coming up with my philosophy of like what to help other guys with in terms of like monogamy, because some guys come to me and say, I think ultimately I want monogamy. And I'm still wrapping my head around this concept. Someone asked me when I said I was going to interview you, they said, okay, you gotta ask about monogamy. I want to hear you guys discuss that, your different philosophies. And I basically said, I'm in agreement with Caleb that 99.9% of the time monogamy doesn't work because you have no fault divorce, you have all that bullshit. People go into it for completely the wrong reasons. We love each other. Love is enough. I said to my girlfriend early on, love is never enough. Why the fuck would love be enough? How is that enough?
Love has nothing to do with it. Love has literally nothing to do with sexual desire over time.
Exactly. And so I'm still processing my philosophies on this. And I suspect, I can't say how I'm going to think in a few years, but I suspect this is something that I'm not going to give an opinion on for a few years until I've really thought my way through. Maybe I'll read more of your stuff. Maybe I'll read other philosophies and stuff. I think I'm in agreement with you. I think the only part that I would disagree on is that it can never work. That said,
and I've never said that.
Yeah. And that's 100% why I wanted to get into this discussion where people say, Andy, Caleb says you're wrong. Like, who's right? And it's like,
well, it depends on specifically what you're saying.
Exactly.
If you're saying the typical average guy, the typical normal guy, or the typical guy interested in these concepts can settle down with a woman at age 36 and be monogamous to her for the rest of his life and she's monogamous to him for the rest of their lives into their 80s, 90s, 100s and die together. No. That's not going to happen.
Sounds so romantic, Caleb, when you say it like that.
Of course it does. It's all societal. And what you said earlier about, what you said, something like clarifying your view on this, that is code for you're wrestling with your societal programming that says that monogamy is the only way to be with a woman long term, according to my mom, my dad, my culture, my society, my religion, my politics. Mm-hmm. You're not actually dealing with facts. You're dealing with societal conditioning.
Correct.
Which is powerful, more powerful than facts.
Yeah.
So that's what you're wrestling with is, a lot of guys do this, and I'm not imitating you or saying you're doing this, but a lot of guys like, factually, these guys like me, they make sense. They're quoting all the right facts. They're quoting all the right science. Yeah, but I don't like it. And the reason you don't like it is because you've been told your entire life you're not supposed to like it. Mm-hmm. Of course you don't like it. I'm married to someone who doesn't love it. It doesn't mean it doesn't work.
You've talked very openly about that. I think what the part where it's funny you say like, you don't like it. I don't really give a shit about monogamy. My main drive with people is you come to me, you tell me what you want, we figure out if that's possible, and I make it happen. And one thing that I pride myself on is never saying that something is impossible. If you want to be that 0.01%, fucking make it happen. Like, absolutely make that shit happen.
The problem is with monogamy, you're only 50% of that equation.
For sure.
So yeah, if you said to me, I'm going to be a billionaire. Yeah, I know the odds are low, but I can pull it off because I'm going to be a billionaire. You might be able to pull that off because you are in 100% control of you. You might be able to do that. But if you said, I'm going to be the exception rule, I'm going to have a 57-year monogamous relationship. Mm-hmm. No, because you're only 50% of that equation.
I agree with that for sure.
The other 50% you have no control over. You have no control of how she's going to feel 12 years from now. None. You have a minor influence. You have some influence. You have no control. So that's why you can't say, well, because I've had guys say this, well, being successful women and having sex with 100 girls, for example, that's the exception to the rule. And I can do that. Right. You can do that because you control you. If a girl says no, you go to the next girl, and eventually 100 will say yes. You have 100% control over the statistics. Monogamy doesn't work that way. You can't marry 27 women until you find the one that works. You can't do that. Right.
You can
That's the challenge with that level of thinking.
So my devil's advocate argument would be you could serially date, like serial monogamy,
Yes.
until you find that girl.
Yes, but you'd have to live with her at least 3 years.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
agree
know
with
what you're
that.
dealing with in terms of a settled down relationship.
I
I
agree
don't like
with
to say
that.
marriage because guys say, I'm not getting legally married. Fine. A settled down relationship. You don't know what you're dealing with until you've been living with that person consistently for 3 years. So you have to do that with multiple women. If you want to do
Sure.
that, go ahead. I would rather blow my brains out. But if you want to do that, yes, you theoretically you could pull that off. Maybe. Maybe. And even then you're not guaranteed success. How many times you got to do that? How many 3-year plus live in relationships you got to do to get to 12? How will you be at that point? You still have kids at that point? You see all the problems?
No,
You can't just date a girl.
Here's the answer. This is me being a complete fucking idiot. You date them all at the same time. You have 12 different apartments in the same building and you just go door to door.
Yes. That's not a
date them all at
monogamous
the same
relationship.
time. I know.
That's not a monogamous relationship.
I know.
So you don't know how she'll behave in a monogamous relationship when
Yeah.
you do that. You know how she'll
Yeah.
behave as an MLTR, which is great. I did that for a decade. Wonderful.
Yeah. No, I think we're in agreement. I think the part where our Venn diagrams overlap is even what I posted on my forums when people started this discussion, knowing that you were coming on here. I said, if you want to try monogamy, you need to know exactly what the fuck you're signing up for. This isn't some like fairy tale bullshit. Like you need to understand what you're signing up for. And if you sit there and say, okay, I've thought through everything. I understand exactly what I'm signing up for. I'm still going to take a shot. I'm going to be that 0.01%. Like, okay, fine, have at it. Like it's your life. You can do whatever you want. But I think the thing is, maybe there's no nice way to say this, but here's what you would suggest. If you're listening to this, you're probably not that 0.01%. Would that be a fair argument?
Right. If you have any interest in these topics of fucking multiple women, you're not in the, and it's not 0.0, it's about 6, somewhere around 6%. 6% of men can do this. And I've talked about this before. If you look at the studies and look at the data, there's not a lot of it, but there's some of it. If you look at the data, and if you look at your own anecdotal experience of guys who've made this work, the one guy you know, or the 2 guys you know have made this work and never cheated and been together for 25 years, these are typically boring. And I don't mean this as an insult. I mean this as an objective scientific trait. Boring, not very exciting, beta male guy who marries another woman who is kind of boring and kind of even keel and kind of, does that describe the guy who likes our content? Is that even close to a guy who likes her? Is that even close to a guy who's curious, who sees our content or something like this and even goes, that's interesting? No, he's immediately wiped himself out from that 6%. You are normal. You are healthy. And not only are you not a boring guy, I'm not talking about the watcher. If you're not a boring guy, do you like boring women? Are you attracted to boring, really boring chicks? On a scale from each other, about a
really
6.
plain, really conservative.
Plain and conservative, not only plain and conservative, but also plain and conservative in looks. Gorgeous 10s do not do hardcore long-term monogamy with men, barring rare exceptions. So you got that going on. There's all these factors. So yes, some guys can pull it off, but those are rare guys, and no one interested in this content is going to be anywhere in that category. Nowhere near that category, frankly. Even again, if you're just curious about it.
Can't disagree. How about this? I will defer to your expertise on this. And as I said, this is still
Well, if you disagree, go ahead and tell me. Maybe you can educate me.
I don't think I do disagree. I think this is one one thing I pride myself on is if I haven't fully thought out a philosophy, I'm not going to sit there and defend it because it's like, this is something that I want to think about for the next several years.
Got it.
Yeah.
I've had guys in my forums and in my groups and on my blogs and on my videos who are married, who watch my stuff, and they defend monogamy. And you ask me a few questions, and then it leaks out, they've cheated a bunch of times. And 2 years ago, they were separated for a year and then they got back together. You just proved my point, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you're preaching to the choir. Like, this is why I moved away from monogamy, was because I tried it for 9 years. And I cheated every time, like multiple times. I wasn't happy. It felt like being in a cage. It felt like... Yeah.
And I didn't cheat when I was monogamous. I was monogamous for 9 years in my first marriage. And I didn't cheat, but I hated it. It was awful. I didn't like it.
Which defeats the
and she
entire
was a
fucking
good person.
purpose.
I had good kids and all that stuff. It still sucked.
Yeah. Defeats the purpose. What's the point in being... I've made this abundantly clear. This is where I absolutely fucking 100% agree with you. And it triggers me. It makes me so pissed off. People who will be in a relationship when they're deeply unfucking happy. It's like, what is the point? What is the point?
Because they're scared of being alone. So in my main book, The Unchained Man, I talk about the 6 societal values, the values that you are trained to want by society. And number 5 on that list of 6 is not be alone. Don't be alone. It's better to be in a shitty relationship or a shitty marriage or shitty whatever than be alone. I can't be alone. And people who can't be alone are not capable of long-term happiness.
Absolutely.
Even if you're not alone.
you have nothing to give. You're coming from a base of fear. You're acting from a negative. You're saying, I'm scared of this thing, so I'm going to take action on that. Rather than, I want a happy relationship. I want something awesome. I want to build something. I want to make the world better. I want to make myself better. Yeah. Whenever you're acting from that place of fear, it's never going to be a good outcome.
Yeah. The best relationships are had by men who don't need the woman.
Correct.
And vice versa. The woman doesn't technically need you. I don't need my wife. From day one when I met her, I didn't need her. She's a nice addition to my life, but I don't need her.
You are,
and she knows that,
crowd.
And that's why our relationship is good, because I don't need her. If you need her,
it's such a deeply unfair burden to put on each other as well. If you need someone, that means if you, Caleb, are having a shitty day, you come home and you need your wife to make you feel better. How unfair of a burden is that? Because what if she's having a shit day?
Right, you're fucked.
What a toxic place to be in. And I think that is the average relationship. It's supposed to be there for me.
That is the average relationship.
Yeah,
that is
not coming from a place of power. It's coming from a place of wanting and neediness and lacking.
And there's another aspect to this, is that most people are accustomed to regular relationship conflict and drama. That's what they're accustomed. So all their past boyfriends, girlfriends, they fought with them and yelled at them and screamed at them, and that's just normal. That's just, hey, that's part of being in a relationship. Ugh. So they're accustomed to that. So when they encounter these conflict because they need each other, it's not a big deal, as big of a deal to them as is guys like you who want to be happy. Right.
Yes. And that's a beautiful segue, my friend. That is the best segue you could have done, because that was next on my list. Was one of the philosophies that I got from you was not tolerating drama. You have articles, you have a bunch of content where you specifically say, here are my rules for drama. I do not tolerate drama. If she's going to bring drama aimed at me, like if she's going to say, Caleb, you did this, or you made me feel like this, or you screwed this up, I will tolerate it for, I think you said like 30 seconds or something.
20.
And 20 seconds, you have a little rant, act like a little child, and then, okay, hey, time's up. Let's go back to reality.
It only takes 20 seconds to state a problem.
Yeah.
Any more than 20 seconds, you're just ranting and being a child. You're not going to.
And you have the same philosophy with your dating. You have the same philosophy with meeting women, with everything, with being in a relationship, casual or serious. And oh my God, that was absolutely life-changing for me. Like this concept that I didn't have to put up with bullshit, that I was allowed to say no, that I was allowed to say drama itself is a deal breaker. If I don't like the way this girl is talking to me, if I don't like her behavior, if I don't like her ethics or lack thereof, I'm allowed to say like, I don't really have time for this. I'm going to go find a girl who will treat me.
Well, that's not drama. That's just one of your requirements.
Sure, fine. But this whole concept of, I'm talking on a greater level.
You could say no.
That I was allowed to, that I didn't just have to go, well, she's attractive and yeah. And I think guys do put up with this drama shit. They think, because one of the things
I don't think they do. That is the norm.
Yeah, it is. It's like we're supposed to
argue. One-itis, they have to put up with it. Well, I have to. She's pretty. Well, I have to. We've been together for 2 years. Well, I have to. I can't replace her. Yeah,
I have to because I'm a man. That's what men do.
Oh, yes. Some of the more right-wingish, conservative, religious, that's what a real man does. Is puts up with drama, screaming and yelling from his girlfriend, wife, and that's just, you just power through it. No.
I don't
do it in happiness.
When was the last time you and your girlfriend had a fight? Are you guys girlfriend or what? I can't remember.
No, we're married.
Okay.
She's my wife.
When was the last time you two had a fucking fight? Like an actual fight? Like, Caleb, you're a piece of shit. Like,
oh, she never says, Caleb, you're a piece of shit. She knows the deal. I'd be out in 48 hours if she was talking to me that way. And it's an OLTR marriage. So she signed paperwork. She doesn't get any of my money. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. So she's never said that I remember, Caleb, you're a piece of shit. Years ago when we were dating, she called me an asshole once or twice. When is the last time we had a fight? A real fight.
Yeah, I don't mean a disagreement. Like,
right, I understand. I believe it was February of 2020.
Nice.
So about a year and a half ago.
And guys, fight. that is, and Caleb would say you can do even better than that.
Yes, you could. Yeah. And even that fight was literally a few minutes. I don't have long, because I cut it off. When my first marriage, when I was a beta male and didn't understand these concepts, I was the typical guy, and we'd fought all the time, and it would go for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You just scream at each other. It's just the normal relationship. You scream for 45 minutes, and then you don't convince either person of anything. You just both walk away angry, and you accomplish nothing until you fight again. Yes, I'm not doing that.
And you carry that resentment for several days.
Absolutely.
That really is the normal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong on that. I'm pretty sure last real fight we had was February of last year. Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't need to. In my first couple of relationships, we would fight almost like clockwork, like every month, like just like
It's the norm.
Clockwork.
It's the norm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
every
it's been
time,
what women have been trained to do. So the first time you do this, I mean, you probably experienced it. It's the first time you either soft next or do whatever you need to do to correct a woman to not have that drama. They're surprised. They're not angry. They're like, what? This is different. He doesn't want to argue with me. Why not? Doesn't he like me? Yeah.
Yeah. When you remove for anyone listening, soft next means remove yourself from the situation temporarily, essentially. Yeah. Right. Anytime I did that, I remember doing that with my current girlfriend, Imogen, several times at the start where it's just like, I'm not going to put up with this shit. And you'd leave and then she'd be like, wait, where are you going?
They're shocked because they've never had a man ever do that. No man has ever just stood up and left.
Yeah, because you got shit to do. You got shit to do. You got a business to run.
Plus, you have to have a higher standard for your happiness, and you have shit to do. Right?
For sure.
Yeah, I only have a certain amount of time. I will only spend time with you if it's a happy context. If it's not, I'm going to go do something else. I have a lot of projects on my plate. I have a lot of things that I do. Yeah.
And one of the concepts I talk a lot about is mentorship, like mentoring my clients, mentoring my readers, mentoring women that you date and stuff like that, if you're dating a younger girl. And really, when I talk about mentoring, it's like you're putting forward a template for how you want the relationship to go. You're showing her what you expect. And this was one of the things I got from you, making it abundantly clear. Here's what I expect. And her going like, yeah, I can do that. I'm going to rise to the occasion and do that too. Whether that's avoiding drama, whether that's communication, being honest, stuff like that. And let's segue to that. That was one of the things I got from you. Just saying what you wanted, just stating what you wanted, just making it fucking clear what you wanted.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you a question because one of my guys, a guy on my forums called, I can't remember his username, MILF and Cookies, there you go. He and a couple of others said that, and maybe they're misunderstanding or maybe they're correct, when you're in a casual relationship with a woman, do you like to make that or do you advocate making that abundantly clear to her? Like this is I'm dating other women? So what's your philosophy?
Those are two different things. You said two different things. Do you make it abundantly clear it's casual? Or do I make it abundantly clear I'm fucking other women? Which one?
Let's ask those both separately. So casual first.
No, I will never tell a woman this is casual. You never define the relationship until you have literally the OLTR talk, which is very few women get that far.
Okay. So how would you
never
handle
define the relationship verbally?
If she said like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? I just want to know what's up. How would you handle that?
So it depends on how long we've been together. If it's less than 3 months, I give you a smart ass answer and I move on. And I'm not going to time. It's too soon for that. And just change the subject.
So that's what I want to dive deep on. That's what my guys were asking. Like, how come? So one thing that I advocate is just like being honest, just brutally honest. Here's what I'm looking for. If you don't like it, like go away. What's the like reasoning behind not doing it within the first 3 months?
You're going to cause conflict because you're overriding her societal programming. You're taking a sledgehammer to her societal programming, and women can't handle that. Neither can most men. So if you say, after dating her for, 3 weeks, and she says, so where is this going? Well, this is called an FB. And this is a casual relationship where we just fuck. We don't go out. We don't spend the night. We don't cuddle because that's not what this relationship is, sweetheart. This is just a fuck buddy relationship. Within a week, she'll probably be gone. And if she's not gone, you're going to have all kinds of drama and hell. It's not going to work.
That just hasn't been my experience, though. Like every time
tell me what you say to them.
So right from the start, if I match on Tinder, I will make it abundantly clear. I'll say, hey, I'm not looking for something super serious.
So hang on a second. This is on Tinder. You haven't even met her in real life yet. You haven't had sex or anything, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm talking about several weeks in when she says, where is this going? Which is what you were asking.
Do you avoid that situation if you like make it clear from the start? Like, hey, I'm just looking for something casual. Let's grab a drink.
That's okay.
Okay.
You're not dating her yet. You're not in a relationship with her yet. So that's okay at that point.
Okay. So you're talking about if you've gotten into a relationship.
And then she says, so what am I to you? What is this to you? Where is this going? And it's soon. Mm-hmm. You don't want to sit there and define it. You're going to have a problem. But what you're talking about is before you've ever met her on Tinder. That could work.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. So we don't disagree so far.
Sure. Well, we're going to disagree on something. I don't actually give a shit if we disagree.
Okay.
But half of my audience
what you're talking about on the Tinder thing is I'm looking for something casual. That's it. That's fine. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. Because again, you haven't started the relationship yet. You're in what I call the dating phase.
It's funny how much a lot of your content is around like pushing back on or trying to break down a lot of like the norms and like the normie shit. Like, here's what you normally do. And then you've come along and gone like, why are you doing that? What the fuck is this shit? Just do it like this instead. Try this.
That doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny how you
doesn't work or causes drama.
Do you ever get enraged? Isn't the right word, but maybe you're past this point. But for a while, did it ever frustrate you that you would look out into society or look out at the average person and see them doing stuff that you can just see is so abundantly not working? It's so abundantly clear it's not working. And they just carry on almost like lemmings. And you want to just pick them up and say, no, 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 do this instead. You want to just fiddle with it.
When I was younger. All the time.
I'm assuming you've moved past that point. You're now like, do you
Many
have
years ago.
are you at a point where you feel like, okay, I have to sort of ignore 95% of people because they're going to do whatever they're going to do. And the 5% that come to me and want to actually listen and have a conversation and learn and all that, I'll focus on them.
That is exactly my viewpoint.
Yeah.
You just described it exactly. It's not that I ignore the 95%. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I guess that's going to apply to almost any content. Like if you're a YouTuber talking about, I don't know, fucking Minecraft videos or something, you're not going to give a shit what the average person on the street thinks. Like you're only focused on your audience. So yeah, I guess.
And you're not going to care about if some random person, let's say some girl, watches a Minecraft video and goes, "This is for nerds. This is dumb."
Yeah.
Is that going to bother you at all? You're not in the target demo, so I don't care.
I love when you get those comments that come in. I get them sometimes where it's like they've clearly stumbled upon something that wasn't meant for them, especially if sometimes you'll get women and they just write this long post that's just missed every point that you have said. And even my girlfriend will read those and be like, this girl's kind of a little, like, she's very nice with the way she phrases it, but she'll essentially say, this girl is kind of crazy. Like they clearly haven't, it wasn't meant for them.
I would say that woman is normal. I would say that girl is normal.
Interesting.
And she's reacting normally. If you're a normal woman and you come across my content, especially if it's out of context, you see some random blog post or video. Yeah, your head's going to explode. Especially if you're a woman over age 33, your head's going to explode. Now, if I took the time, and I don't, like you said earlier, if I took the time to sit down with that woman and explain to her for 20 minutes, then she'd go, okay. And I've had those conversations in real life. I mean, I had to have a long conversation with my wife when she was my fiance, her mom, who stumbled across my material. Her mom's head exploded. Yeah, I talked about that. So once you sit down and explain it calmly, and you answer the question, well, can they fuck other guys too? Yes. Oh, it deflates all the anger and Well, sometimes you don't have to sign a prenup. Well, look at the divorce statistics. Here you go, 76%. Oh, well. Oh, but yes, I get those comments too, and that's just I don't care. I don't care about most of the world at this point in my life. I'm just at that point. I just don't care. I've been that way for many years. I'll come independence. I just don't care.
On that topic, one of the videos that you put out early last year was called like something like how to deal with the coronavirus shit. You did like a whole series of them. Yeah. And one of the ones where it was one of the early ones. It was right at the start of all the shit. And I was doing my best to be stoic and ignore it and go like, okay, the world is going to do what it's going to do. If this pandemic is serious, that doesn't have to, I can deal with it as best I can. If it's not serious, then everyone's freaking out over nothing. And you had a couple of videos where you said exactly that, but in even more eloquent terms. And I'm not going to try and quote you because if people want to watch that, they can go and watch it. Look up Caleb Jones on YouTube, coronavirus, something or other. And one of the points that you made is essentially the outside world is going to do all the shit that they're going to do. You need to focus on building your own power. You need to do your own shit. Like, stop freaking out about what they're doing and start working on what you're going to do. And I took from that one of my own philosophies, which is stop looking at problems and start looking for solutions. Like, what are you going to do? So again, thank you for that piece of content. That really genuinely helped when I was going through a period of time where I was like, because I'm in Australia, I was in some of the worst lockdowns in Melbourne, Victoria, and I was going through like a freak out and stuff, and your videos really fucking helped. So genuinely thank you for that.
Great. Excellent. Yeah, that's very difficult for men to do today, is to just ignore, or at least don't let it bother you, the outside world, because the outside world's going to do literally everything wrong. Yeah. And with the pandemic, that's the case. Just about every country in the world has done literally everything wrong, as they said they would about a year ago. And,
you did.
And it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse. We live in a collapsing Western society. Yeah. So if you're just going to get pissed off every day looking on YouTube or Twitter or what have you, you're just going to be pissed off the rest of your life. If your goal is to be pissed off the rest of your life, and it is for some men, great, go ahead. If you don't want to be pissed off, you want to be happy, you're just going to have to just either ignore it, which is hard, or be like me and just go, that's hilarious, and then move back onto your life.
Yep. Or the way I phrase it is that is fucking retarded. It's so stupid that I'm not even going to give it time of day, because it's literally the dumbest thing that I could possibly encounter.
Works too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And plus, you can't, as I've talked about a billion times, you can't change it anyway. I've had many discussions with my Trump supporting brothers about, did that work? And no, you can't. And I said in 2016 it wasn't going to work. You can't change it. It doesn't matter who you vote for or what kind of protest you're going to make or bitching on the internet, on Twitter, or getting involved in political discussions. And again, that's just a circle jerk. If you like to be angry, and there's a percentage of men who do, if you like, go ahead and do that stuff. If you don't, you're going to have to just take that out of your life and focus it on you. Correct.
Yeah. The 5 years that people spent freaking out about all that shit. Imagine they could have all been millionaires by now. You could have lost like 50 pounds. You could have.
In some cases, that is literal. I personally know guys on the internet and guys in my personal life who literally they could be millionaires right now had they not been worked up about the Bernie Sanders, Trump, Hillary. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. We'll segue a little bit. What's your main mission with your content?
Main mission with my content.
Yeah, with your philosophy, with your books, with your website, with your YouTube.
Yeah,
like what are you trying to achieve?
I want to establish and maintain a network of 1 million alpha male 2.0s who are at least adhering to the bare minimums of the lifestyle I talk about, and have a support structure for those 1 million men.
I really like that. Okay, here's me over here. My girlfriend asked me a couple of weeks ago, like, what's your mission in life? Like, we like to ask that question every 6 months or so. And I said, you know what? I think I want to help 100,000 guys. Here's you with 1 million. I got to up my game. I like that. It's a nice number.
So 1 million is it's a nice number. B, it's a big number, but it's accomplishable. And C, it doesn't require me to work 27 years of my life. I don't need to work that hard to get to 1 million. And if it's 1 million, if there is 1 million, and there probably already is, it's very hard to gauge these numbers. There probably already is. Maybe if not, it's pretty close. If there's 1 million, that means there is 5x, 10x more men who have been exposed to the content and are doing some of what we talk about. So we're affecting not only 1 million, we're affecting maybe 10, 15, 20 million, which is great. Because most of the guys who come across my content and your content are not going to do literally everything you teach.
Of course,
they're going to do a percentage of it. They're going to do some of it, or they'll dabble and poke around with it. That's the norm. That's also normal. Fine.
Yep.
So 1 million is that elite number, and then we're really talking about maybe 15, 20 million or something beyond that.
I like that.
But again, I don't care about that 15, 20 million. I care about the million. I don't care about guys who think I'm interesting and don't do anything. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. On that topic, I do want to really, really quickly say one of the things that I've noticed that, I advocate doing this is like take a little bit, if someone was to come along and take a little bit of Caleb Jones, a little bit of me, a little bit of Good Looking Loser, a little bit of, I don't know, the red pill, and like kind of push it all together, I'm all for that. I don't know how you feel about that, but as long as you're working towards.
Correct. Depending on how old you are and where you are in life.
Yeah,
so if you're 23, it might make a lot more sense to take some of my content, some of yours, and some of Chris's. If you're 57, probably wouldn't make a lot of sense to go after Chris's stuff. Maybe.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. No.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it depends on where you are in life. So yeah, you're correct, but it really depends on your personality. It's really your personality, your age, and where you are in life. That's why I try to say everyone do this. There are some exceptions like monogamy and things like that. But usually I say, now if you're a younger guy, you should probably do this. If you're an older guy, you should do this instead.
Yeah. And it's funny how, the discussion we had at the start, people will take like one sentence that you have said and then come to me and say, Andy, Caleb completely disagrees with you on everything. And then it's like, did you read the actual article? Like after that, he then says he used the word most. He didn't say all, or he used the word a lot of the time. Like,
imprecise language.
Yeah, for sure.
You've got to be very precise when you disagree with someone on the internet.
Correct.
Very precise definitions.
You need to.
Right. Real quotes and very precise definitions for what you mean. Instead of saying, I don't think this will work. That doesn't mean anything. What does work mean? Right. Like you said earlier. Correct. Yeah. Monogamy. What do you mean? Long-term, short-term, serial? What do you mean? Right. Again, which is very hard for people to do. It's very hard for people to take a deep breath, relax, center their thoughts, get their definitions in their head, and then type their words. It's very hard for human beings to do this.
Yeah. I'm not immune from that. I think it's because the topics we're talking about are very sensitive topics. Like if you come along and say like even if you just say, do you want to get laid a lot? I can help you have sex with 30 women, 50 women, whatever it is. Even just that concept, a guy will read that and like you say, all this societal shit will come up. Like, oh, I'm not allowed to do that. That's using women. But what if somebody sees me? But what if I hurt some hearts? What if I do this? What if that? What if if the girls don't like me? Like
that's
all this bullshit comes up.
Yeah, that's all societal programming. That's why it's the second, third chapter in my book. Very first thing I discuss. That's all societal conditioning. None of that is logical, rational, objective. None of that.
Yeah. How satisfying is all of this to you? Like, helping guys build the life they want, avoiding the general pitfalls. Yeah. It's
immensely satisfying. 80, 90% of the work that I do, I would almost do for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have several companies. This is one of several companies I have, and I have a lot of investments, things like other things I do that have nothing to do with this. But yes, this is great. I immensely enjoy this.
What's the best email that like personifies that? What's the best email that's an example of that? The best email anyone's ever sent you.
Best what?
The best email anyone's ever sent you. Terrible fucking question.
Oh my God, I don't know. Shit, I've gotten thousands. The best email someone sent me regarding being helped.
Yeah.
I can't narrow it down to one. I get a lot. Most emails I get are questions, but I get a lot of emails. I'll give you some examples of things guys have told me. I have had guys, a few things, and it's kind of interesting, but it's something that surprised me. I've had a few guys who said, I was planning on killing myself. I bought the bullets, I bought the gun, and then I read your book. And now I have 3 women on rotation. I'm happy. I've lost weight.
Man.
Yeah, things like that.
That's some deep shit.
Yeah, I've had that. That stops and makes you think.
Yeah.
When I started getting that stuff, that and the next one, which is when I started doing seminars around the world years ago, I did a world tour about 4 years ago, where I hit like 22 different cities all over the world. And in 2018, I think. And I had 3 different guys in 3 different cities come up to me after the seminar. And all 3 of them are kind of nervous. And they said, I just want to let you know, and they all use different words for this. I just want to let you know, you're the closest thing I've ever had to a dad. And I went, wow, okay. And so that plus the suicide thing, I went back to home and I went, this is more than just how to get laid or how to start a business, or I'm onto something much more important than this. Yeah.
That's
really stopped and made me reevaluate a bunch of things.
That you do give off those vibes. You're always wearing a suit. You come off as very like paternal, very caring. Yeah, I said that to my girlfriend Imogen yesterday.
Oh, that's so funny.
I feel like I'm gonna sit down with like my second dad and have a fucking
That's
chat.
so funny. And I don't do that consciously, but I've been told that by a lot of people, including women I dated. Yeah. And I don't do it. It's just who I am. So yes, you're not the first person to say that.
That was something that I very much got from you as well. This like permission to, with the girls that I date, be that paternal figure, and not like literally their dad, but like mentoring, looking after them, teaching them to be better, teaching them about the world, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I definitely got that from you for sure.
Yes.
That didn't come from good-looking loser. No offense, Chris.
No, it wouldn't. I love Chris, but no, you're right.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, Chris is a lot younger than me. Not a lot younger, but he's a lot younger than me.
Chris is an old man. Chris is older than me. I'm 34. He'd be like 38 right now.
Yeah,
he's catching up.
I'm 50.
He's catching up. The older
he is catching up. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's not a young guy, but he's younger than me. But yeah, no, he's not 40 yet though, is he? Right? 38, 39?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's on a sabbatical now. He's changing the world with Kratom.
He's taking it easy. Yeah.
Good. All the best to him. He's fucking earned it.
Yeah, it's great.
So is there anything, one question that I got from a bunch of people was, is there anything you wish you knew when you started? And obviously guys who are asking this are in the early stages. So is there anything you knew?
Started with what?
Let's just say getting laid. I guess we could ask that separately with making
money. There's so many things I wish I knew. Where do I start? Jesus Christ.
Don't be a little pussy.
I wish I knew. I'm trying to narrow it down like 2 or 3 things. There's so many things. Well, from an attitudinal standpoint, I wish I fully understood that it wasn't just about having a lot of money or having 6-pack abs to get the really pretty girls. I fell into that trap for years. And until one day, if you know my story, I said, okay, forget it. I'm just going to go after the hottest women I can, and let's see what happens. And holy shit, it kind of worked. It worked clumsily, and then it worked really well. And again, mention this, because of Instagram, we have a whole population, a subculture of men on the internet, millions of guys all over the world who are convinced, even guys in my audience who are still convinced, nope, if she's cute, you cannot fuck her unless you're a multimillionaire, just let it rain on girls.
Yep.
You pay a bunch of hookers or sugar babies, or you are a male 9 or 10, you look like Brad Pitt, you got 6-pack abs, you drive the Ferrari, or else you have no shot. And even implying you might be is just leading men on and leading men down the wrong path and shit. I mean, I drove an 8-year-old car back when I was at the heyday of this stuff, the most amount of women, including the 18-year-olds. This is before I did Sugar Daddy Game. This is just normal dating. I drove an 8-year-old Nissan that I lived in a lower middle class house that had grass up to about 3 feet high. The people around me were all like Mexicans and these giant families. There was no furniture in my house. There was nothing on the walls. I had a disgusting yard. Women thought, "Oh, you just moved in?" No, I've been here for 5 years. What?
Yeah,
They're looking
yeah.
around. I look like it was like a serial killer house, and I did just fine. I was more chubby than I am now. I was 30 pounds heavier than I am without fat. It was, but I did just fine. I had to work hard. I had to put a lot of numbers. There are a lot of women who said no. I don't care about the women who say no. So that's from an attitudinal standpoint. That's a big thing. In terms of a technique standpoint, there's so many things. I'm just pulling things randomly out of my head. Again, I came out of the pickup artist world. In the pickup artist world, it's all about get the make out. This is back in the old school pickup artist with Mystery and
you got to kiss close.
The kiss close. Go for the kiss. Go for the makeout. Mystery gone on and said, okay, what is mastery? Mastery is go into a club, and I'm nothing against Mystery. Love Mystery. He's a great guy. But he was focused on the kiss. Go into a club, 4 sets, 4 makeouts. That's mastery. That's a pickup artist. That's a fucking man. I'm like, when are we getting laid? When are we putting our dicks in women? What that?
Yeah.
What the fuck? So I went on many first dates. I've talked about this. Many first dates where I made out with the girl at the end of the first date. And I'm a confident guy. I was able to do that. I literally went through, I don't know the number, 22, 23 first dates where I made out with the woman at some point during the date in a row. And my success ratios in terms of actually having sex dropped. And so I did an experiment. I said, okay, I'm not going to kiss at all. I'm going to keynote and do sex talk on the first date, limit to 1 hour, and then do that on the second date. And I got laid. It was fantastic. I mean, I quadrupled my results in terms of getting to sex quickly. Sex, not makeouts, just by not kissing on the first date. Wish I do things like that. That would have saved me a lot of time.
That's funny because I went through that same transformation. A couple of friends and I went through the same thing where we were like, what if we just don't do anything on the date? We just have like a fairly normal date. We talk about sex, we talk about shit like that. But what if we don't try and force anything and then just throw out a casual like, yo, you want to come back to my place and have some more drinks? And it's like, that just seemed to work more. And then I was like, well, why am I forcing all this shit that I don't necessarily want to do?
Right. It's magical because you're engaging a lot of the reptilian brain on the female side. Why isn't he trying to kiss me? Why isn't he doing these things? Why is he just leaving and he doesn't want to kiss me? And does he not like me? And that raises attraction, but it also reduces ASD at the same time, which is exactly what you want.
And when you say ASD, for some guys who don't know what that means, anti-slut defense, basically that feeling of like, oh, I don't want to look like a whore. I probably shouldn't move too fast. I don't want to look easy, that kind of shit.
Right. Yes. Your goal in that first meet is to raise attraction as high as you can while minimizing ASD, getting it as low as you can. And if you start making out, you jack up ASD, even if the attraction remains high. Oh, I made out with a guy. I don't even know his name.
I've said the same thing with texting dirty before you meet up with a girl. I'm like, you're just going to get her feeling like all horny. And then when it comes time to actually meet, she's like, oh, I can't meet. We've already fucking done all this shit.
Correct. That's a big mistake guys make. Exactly right.
For sure.
Once you have sex with her twice, I call that lock-in, then you can do whatever you want. She won't care. But before that,
call it lock-in? Okay. Because I use that same word, and now I'm wondering if I just took that from you. I must have subconsciously stolen that from you.
That's fine. You're welcome.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. So I'm allowed to
steal. Lock-in means
great. Awesome.
You've had sex with a woman twice. Once you've had sex with a woman twice, you enter into a part of her mind that says it is now normal and okay for me to have sex with this man.
I can be filthy. I can text him dirty shit.
It's okay now. I'm not a slut anymore. We're having sex now. It's okay, and that applies even if you haven't seen her for a year or two. So you have sex with her a bunch of times. You don't see her for 2 years. She comes back into your life, which I do all the time. You don't have to go on another first date, another second. You have to regame her. Just say, come on over, and she'll come right on over, and then she'll come on you. Right.
So romantic you are. So I want to take a step back a little bit with what you said about not being perfect with like abs and all of that kind of stuff, and thinking that like I have to be some god or I have to be some rich fucking billionaire before any cute girls will sleep with me. I see this all the time. Guys misinterpret the whole point of self-improvement. They think, okay, if the mission here is to look better, to have more money, to be a better man, to be more confident and all of that, I'm going to use that as an excuse to not actually try and enter the actual game. I'm not going to get any skin in the game until I'm right at the end of my self-improvement journey. As in, till I have those abs, till I have that $1 million, till I've maxed out my confidence.
It's backwards. It's literally backwards.
I know. And it's like the process of trying to get laid is what will build that self-esteem, what will build that confidence. More the point, it's massive motivation to go to the gym, to make more money. If you start getting some results and you're thinking like, oh shit, if I just looked a little better, if I just was a little more confident, or if I just practiced a little bit better, I'd get even more results. That's motivation. What you don't want to do is sit on the sidelines and go, everyone else can play the game, but not me. I see so many guys doing that. And I even did a podcast called Now's Not the Right Time, because that's my number one objection that people get. They give me that with coaching. They give me that with not getting laid. They say like, now's not really the right time. it's like, well, when is the right time, motherfucker? Are you going to wait another 5 years? You'll be fucking 30-something at that point. How is that the right time?
It's never the right time. You'll always have problems.
Yeah.
Two things. One is, based on what I've seen, it's at a historical high, and the number of men who have that attitude. I've never seen it this bad. When I was a kid, I'm Generation X. So in the 90s, when we were kids, guys in their 20s, there were a few guys like that, but they were not the norm. Today, it is the norm. It is, most guys have this attitude. Number one. Number two, I'll take what you just said and I'll take it to the next level. I've written articles about this. You should be as physically fit as you can within your age and your genetics and all that bullshit. Yes. And you should make as much money as you want, irrelevant of women. I don't make money for women. My goal when I was a kid, when I was 18, was to make a 6-figure income by the time I turned 28. This is in 1990s dollars, back when 6 figures was a lot of money. And so, and I wrote all the reasons why I wanted that money when I was 18. There was a single woman on there. It was, I want to have this kind of house. I want to have these kinds of investments. I want to build these types of companies. I want to be able to travel, go wherever I want, not worry about, oh, I can't buy a plane ticket. I want to stay in nice hotels. I want to wear a nice shirt. I was a nerd back then, so I want a bunch of computers. I want a cool sports car. Not once like, I hope I get a hot girlfriend because I'll have 100,000. There was nothing in there regarding women at all. And I hit it when I was 27. And at no point ever have I thought, to this day, I'm 49 now, have I ever thought, I got to make more money because I got to get hotter girls. It was, I got to make more money because I want more money. I lost some weight a while back, I'm still losing. But I never thought, I got to lose weight because then I'll get more pussy. Now I did. It did help my women life when I lost some weight. That's true. Like you said, you don't have to get 6-pack abs. But I wanted to lose weight for various reasons, 3 or 4 big reasons that had nothing to do with women. So you should want these things for you. And while you're getting these things, get laid.
See,
I have sex so I can be effective at my work. I don't work to have sex. That's fucking stupid. I have sex 3 times a week, 4 times a week, so I can be more effective at my work. So I'm focused on my work. I'm not thinking about porn or pussy or I got to jerk off or I got to watch porn. I don't want to be distracted. I got to focus on my work. That's why I get laid. That's my attitude since day one.
So here's where I wouldn't even say disagree, but here's my different take on that. I say at the start, if you want to go to the gym for women, great. That's a great reason to get you in the gym at the start. If you want to start making money for women, that's a great fucking reason. It's not going to sustain you long term. It's not going to satisfy you long term. That's almost chasing a high, like you're chasing dopamine.
If you can't find any other reason, then that's probably okay. I've thought about that. I've had other guys make that point. If you're a young guy and your viewpoints are kind of simple about life because you're 22 or whatever. I'm not saying that to denigrate young guys, but if you just can't if money is not a motivating factor for you, some guys aren't motivated by money. It's fine. If you just can't get motivated by any other thing other than the pretty girl, and that gets you to the gym, fine. But within the context of what you just said, that's not going to sustain you at all.
Yeah, no, for sure. No.
Right. So yeah, I don't think I disagree. If you can't find anything else, I would prefer you found something else, but I understand not everyone's like me. So that's fine. Yeah. I don't think I disagree.
Because I think you don't want to suffer in there. So I see this sometimes. Guys go to the gym for women, and then they don't enjoy the process of actually being in the gym because they haven't allowed themselves to. The whole time they're thinking, I have to suffer through this workout so that I can get women. And if they're not getting women, then that just makes the workout even harder. At some point, what you want to do is learn to love the gym for itself. You have to learn to enjoy being there because you're going to spend a ridiculous amount of time there. Yeah. Same with making money. Making money is not easy. It's not just sit in front of a fucking webcam and people donate money to you. It doesn't. Well, right. If you're attractive and a female and you have big titties and you willing, right, that's a separate point.
But for the other than that, if you have a penis, that's not going to apply to you. You're right.
Correct. Unless you get fake tits, I don't know if that's.
No, you might try it. Who knows?
I don't endorse that, but go for it if you want to. So I want to segue to another question that another guy asked called "You Bet Your Cotton Panties." I have fucking amazing usernames on my forums. This guy says,
"Awesome, those are really good."
I don't know if he's misspoken here, but he says, I would love to know how long Caleb's average MLTR lasts and if he had advice on managing those relationships for longer than a year. I don't know if he means open relationship. Did he mean to write open?
MLTR is open.
I thought ML is monogamous. Monogamous long-term.
No. MLTR means multiple.
Ah, look at me, newbie. Okay, I thought you had OLTR for that. Okay.
No, OLTR means open.
Okay.
So let me run down those categories really fast, just so we're clear, because I know it's complicated. FB is friend with benefits. I think everyone understands what that means. It's casual. You're having sex. She's your friend. That's it. MLTR means multiple long-term relationships. So that is a non-monogamous, non-exclusive, but dating relationship. Unlike an FB, you actually like her. You have feelings for her. You could go out on dates. She can spend the night. You can cuddle. You can really date, but you can date several of those. You can have 2, 3, 4 MLTRs if you want. You can have 2 MLTRs, 1 FB, any combination you like. OLTR is an exclusive, emotionally exclusive, sexually open relationship.
Yep.
So I have an OLTR marriage. I can have sex with other women I do every week, but I can't date other women. And it's because I don't want to. At my point in my life, I don't want to. So if you do want it to, you'd never have an OLTR. A lot of men shouldn't have OLTRs. But it's emotionally exclusive. I'm emotionally exclusive to my wife. That's it. But I can have sex with whoever I want. Okay. So going back, his question is, how long does my typical MLTR last?
Yep. And if you have any advice on managing them in the longer term, like after a year or so.
Yeah. Let's see. The last time I ran the numbers, see if I can remember this. I have spreadsheets that have all this. First of all, I don't do MLTRs anymore. I'm not allowed to because I can't date. So it's been 5 years since I've had MLTRs, but I did it for about 10 years. Let's see. Let's see if I get the numbers right. So 21 months was the average amount of time for the MLTR before the first break. I call them listen fitties. That's when they go away from you temporarily because they want a monogamous boyfriend, and then it doesn't work because monogamy doesn't work, and then they come back and they continue the relationship. So the average MLTR will do that 2 to 3 times. So if you add that all up, that's many years. But in terms of a consistent, I believe it's 21 months before the first break on average for MLTRs. FBs, it's shorter. I believe that's right. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that.
That's so fascinating because that's not something I've done. I've had a couple of girls come back, but usually by that point I'm like, yeah, I've like moved on. And I know this is something that you do a lot. I know you have a spreadsheet. I've seen it. Like, and a lot of your women come back. That's 94%. Fascinating to me.
94% of my women come back.
It makes sense because they've gone out. Like I've had girls message me. I just haven't really wanted to follow through. So I could see how it would be that. That's still extremely high to me, but it makes sense. I guess they're going out and just sampling the average and going like, Caleb's better. Caleb has a suit.
I've been working with that for a long time, but that's 94% over the past 14 years. And that's still true. Every time I run the numbers again, it's still around 94%. It's never really changed. Not never, but once I got good at this. Yeah. But that includes MLTRs, FBs. Oh, that's every woman I've had sex with more than twice. It's 94%. Yeah.
What is the conversation like when they come back? Like, do you go into the specifics of like what they did? Do you ever ask questions? Like,
sure.
What was it like?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, oh, yeah. We don't get into details usually, but there's always it's a woman. Women like to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll tell me. They'll give me the overview. Many times, matter of fact, I still get these texts. I'll get a text from a woman I haven't heard from maybe in 2 or 3 years. Happens all the time. And it'll say, you were right. Because sometimes I don't normally do this. So I don't recommend what I'm about to say. Don't do this because I've been doing this for a long time. I experience. I don't do this for every woman. But sometimes what I will do is a woman will say, I can't see anymore. I have a boyfriend now. And I'll say, okay, here's based on her age and his age and what I know about her. And,
you guys are going to last 4.32 years.
Yes, I will say, here's what's going to happen. The next 4 to 6 months, you're going to love it. It's going to be great. After about 6, 7, 8 months, you're going to start one of two things. You're going to start arguing and he's going to start trying to control you and check your phone. You're going to get mad and you're going to say, fuck this and leave him. Or you're going to find out he's cheating on you. And what you'll probably do is you'll scream and yell and throw pots and pans at him and he'll promise not to do it again. And then you'll keep seeing him and then he'll do it again. And then you'll break up with him. And in both cases, you'll come back to me. So I'll see you in about a year. And a year and a half, depends on the woman. And literally, I will have women say, you were exactly right. That is exact. And they will list out exactly that happened. You were within 4 months, we started arguing. I found him here. It's exact. Yeah. So we had those conversations. I've had many of those. And they'll all say, oh, no, that's not. He's not like that. Huh?
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about, Caleb. How dare you? We're in love.
No. Or the smarter ones will say, well, we'll see what happens. Those are the smarter girls because they kind of know. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I said, I know what'll happen. Watch. Even women who get married. I'm getting married. Great. Here's what's going to happen. Within 4 years, you'll be divorced. And the last time I said that to a woman, that is exactly what happened. Married a guy in the army. He went and cheated. They had a kid. And she was right back to me. We're having sex again within under 3 years.
So here's why I think this shit happens so regularly, as in why people fuck up monogamy and stuff. It's because they do exactly what you've just said there. Someone wiser and who gets this shit will explain, this is what's going to happen. Or this is what's most likely going to happen. And they'll just go, no, it won't. And it's like, so you're basically walking into a deal having no idea what's going to happen, having no idea what the terms of the contract are, not even having a fucking contract half the time.
Well, you're being very masculine when you say that. We're talking about women right now. Women don't care. Deep down, women don't care. Why? Because deep down, and sometimes it's in their subconscious, they're not thinking about this consciously. They know I'm a girl, I have long hair and I have tits. If this guy doesn't work out, I can just go get another one. Men aren't like that. Men are like, sure, this is the one. I'm set for life. She's perfect. Thank God. I hope she never breaks up with me. But women, you can explain all this stuff logically, like I just talked about, and we'll go, yeah, and they don't care.
I'll see what happens. Yeah.
And they don't care. They don't care if women don't care if they get divorced. That's why 70-80% of divorces are filed by the female. They don't care. They can just go get another guy until they're about 60. When they hit their 60s, then they realize, oh shit, I can't do this anymore. But well into their 40s and 50s, they know they can snap their fingers and just go get another guy. He may not be at super high quality, but he'll be a guy who pays their bills or helps them with whatever, women always know that. That doesn't mean they plan on doing it. That doesn't mean that, these black pill MGTOW guys who think women are evil. They're not planning on dumping you. That's not true either in most cases. They just know either consciously or subconsciously, if this doesn't work, so what? And I've had a few women verbalize that. Hey, if you get divorced, so what? You get divorced, so what? Yeah, you get half the guy's money. Of course, so what for you? Sure. And you just go get another guy. That doesn't work out for men. That's not what happens when men get divorced.
Yeah. I've had this discussion. I've had this discussion before, and this is a concept that comes from the rational male, that men are the true romantics. Men are the ones that have these lovely ideas of like, this woman will be with me for, and I've said that to my girlfriend, and she's like, well, like, yes, I know that men are more romantic, but women are romantic too. And it's like, not really though. Hey, like
women are romantic in the moment.
Yeah.
In the moment, that day, she's going to be romantic than him. My wife is certainly more romantic than me in the day. In the moment, that's true. On the macro, no.
Correct.
Yeah. I've talked about the five engaged woman experiment. This is an experiment you guys can run if you want to do this. You can find, and might take you a few years to do this. You have to talk to 5 different women who are engaged to be married. Doesn't matter how old they are. Okay, they're engaged, not dating. They're engaged, and you need to get them away from the world. So you're one-on-one, not with around all of her friends and family. So you're in a one-on-one conversation, and you ask them, is this really the guy for you long-term? Are you really going to be married to this guy for the next 57 years straight? And write down the answers. Now, initially, say, well, of course. You say, really? You really believe that for real? Really? Is that what you really believe? Then you'll get all kinds of well, I don't know. Usually the answer is, I don't know. Or, well, we'll see what happens. Or, well, we'll maybe get a good 10 years out of it. And rarely will you get a hard, yes, this is it. I'm going to be married forever. You won't get that you'll get that from men. You'll get that from engaged guys. Yes. This is the one for me. I'm going to be married forever. Women will go, well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, women know this shit. That's why a lot of women hate when we talk about this stuff, because like, shut up. Now.
Yeah. Here's my question to you. So how do you, because I know you've specifically said, I don't expect, and tell me if I'm paraphrasing this incorrectly, but you basically said, I didn't go into this relationship with my current wife expecting that it would last forever. That wasn't like in my head. Is that a fair way of phrasing that?
Correct. I knew the odds were against me.
I like that phrasing. So how do you still go into it giving fully and not holding back, if you get what I'm saying there? Like, how do you basically not already have one foot out the door and she feels like, well, you're not even fucking trying, Caleb. I don't feel like you even give a shit about me. Because I see guys doing that. They read your stuff and they go, oh, so I shouldn't like ever care about women, right? And it's like, no. So how do you balance that?
Good question. So I've written a few articles about this. So you said, am I expecting to stay together with her for the rest of my life? I want to, and that's the goal. So that is my goal, but I'm being realistic about the goal. Is that goal 100%? No. Is that goal more than 50%? Maybe. And I have, as I said to you earlier, I'm only 50% of that, but I can 100% control the 50%. Mm-hmm. So I can do everything in my power that I know works on my end of the 50%. I can also, if I can, and I've been able to so far, train her to do the things on her 50% to kind of bolster her 50% as much as I possibly can, which is very weak.
Thank you.
Okay, so I can
this
do
is
that.
What I've been trying to say, solidify, like unifies what I'm teaching and what you're teaching. And guys, missed that little bit you just said, which is there are things that you can fucking do to teach her to try as well.
But you have no control over these things. She can say, fuck you.
Correct.
Okay? Or Or she can do them for 3 years and say, I don't want to do this anymore, which is what women do.
Correct.
You're still not guaranteed, but you're moving the needle a little bit in your favor. Number one. That's number one. Number two, I do 10-year benchmarks. So what I said originally when I first married her was I put 3 benchmarks. My first benchmark was if we get divorced within 4 years, this was a complete total failure. And I have to look at myself. I remember reading that. Yep. Yes. Okay. We're about to come up on 4 years in about 2 months. Thank God. Right. We're both very happy. It's very good. So then I said 7 years. If we get divorced between 4 and 7, this is a failure, but still worth doing because I probably will have learned a lot. Yep. So a failure, but worth doing. 7 to 10 if we get divorced, it's a success. Because show me another guy who had a 8-year, 9-year long, happy, non-monogamous marriage and made it work for that long. That's a pretty big accomplishment. 10 years plus is a huge success. And then at 10 years, I'm going to set another set of benchmarks for the next 10. And I'm going to take it 10. I can't say, we're never getting divorced. 27 years from now, we are guaranteed to be together. No, I can't say that, but I can tell you the odds are really good that in 5 years we'll still be together. That'll be 9. I can look at the next several years and hit the next 6, 7 years hard. Knowing it's not guaranteed, I could get divorced tomorrow.
What you're talking about is being realistic.
Right. Yep. It's being realistic and optimistic at the same time. Most guys are optimistic and they're not realistic at all.
Or they go the black pill route.
Caleb, she's a Christian. She won't divorce me. She's a Christian. She voted for Trump, Caleb. She's a good girl. Caleb, she's only fucked 3 guys. So she's not going to divorce me or cheat. She's only fucked 3 guys, Caleb. These are psychotic, irrational optimisms. You need to be optimistic while being rational, both. And you can do both. It's hard. It's hard because your brain isn't designed that way. Your brain wants to be optimistic or pessimistic, and that's it. You can be optimistic and rational at the same time.
Yeah, I think you have to be realistic because I've stated this myself in my own relationship. You can't just walk into it being Captain Optimistic saying, we're going to be together forever and we love each other and that's never going to change. It's like every fucking year we need to have metrics that define the relationship. One thing that my girlfriend and I do is every year, what do we want to work on? Who do we want to be a year from now? Goals, stuff like that. Okay, you're going to lose weight. I'm going to add this many kilos of muscle and be building towards something. And I like what you said that you have those 10-year benchmarks. Maybe I'll take a little of that philosophy myself and sort of plan out, okay, if we do 10 years, that's fucking awesome. 5 years, but like, know that this isn't just, because guys sign away the next, 50 years of their life and say, okay, we're going to be together for the next 50 years. And it's like, you do realize that's like 5 decades. Yeah, exactly. It's 5 decades. You've just signed that away. Why would you not instead go, the next 5 years, here's what we're going to work on? Or in my case, the next year. Or in your case, like the next 10 years. Like, what do we want to build towards? And I think that is the number one piece of advice I can give to guys of like, if you were going to try this and make something like this work, you have to be building something. Like you can't just sit there and go like, we're going to love each other and, we're going to watch Netflix and she's going to lie on my lap in 5 years and that's going to be satisfying. Just like we said before, going to the gym for women isn't going to be satisfying forever. It's not going to be enough to carry it over. Just being in a relationship, isn't going to be enough forever. There has to be something more. There has to be
I'll add, I agree with everything you just said. And I'll add a third thing in defense of those guys who say, well, we just shouldn't care about women. That's partially true. If I got divorced tomorrow, I wouldn't like it, but my financial life would be completely unaffected. My sex life would be completely unaffected. My mission would continue on without any big hiccups at all. My actual life, my international 5 flags life, my amazing life that I have would not really be affected that badly. A little bit. I'd feel sad. I wouldn't like it.
Of course.
Within 2 or 3 months, I'd be fine. So I don't fear it. Again, I don't need her. I like her. I love her a lot. I've loved her more. I've loved any other woman in my life. She's amazing on every level, but I don't need her. So there is an aspect of not giving a shit and being outcome independent here. Because when I talk to guys, when I coach guys or guys ask me questions about converting their monogamous relationship or marriage to non-monogamous, when I give them that level, those steps, step 0 is you have to be cool if she divorces you. If you try this process and she says, fuck this, I'm out. You got to understand that might happen. You have to be okay with it. Not like it, not love it, not you're okay with it. And if you're like, no, I can't have her well, then you're fucked. I can't teach you anything. I can't give you anything to do because you won't do it. She'll say, I'm leaving. You'll say, okay, never mind. That's step 0. You got to be there first.
She'll have that one moment of jealousy.
If you don't want her to leave, she's in control. and you're her slave. And that's literal.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And that goes both ways. Like two people in a relationship, one can't have that much power that the other one can just walk all over them and they go, oh, well, I'm fucked if you ever leave. So do whatever the fuck you want to me. We call that an abusive relationship. But guys don't see that on the flip side. When a girl has that power, and I'm not even blaming the girl here, it's the guy's fucking fault. When the girl has the power and the guy's just going to sit there and take whatever, it's like, well, that's an abusive relationship you've just gotten yourself into. Oh, no, it's not, because I love her. And it's like, you're a fucking slave, as you just said. Yeah.
Beta.
Yeah.
Oneidas. I learned that from a radio shock jock 20 years ago named Tom Likas.
Tom Likas. I fucking love Tom Likas. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, right? And I heard this, 25 years ago when I was in my first marriage, and he was talking about the power I have when I'm with a woman, including my current girlfriend, his current wife, whatever he said, is if she complains about it, I say, great, there's the door. You don't like it, there's the door. And I'm like, holy shit. And then I actually did that in my first marriage. When I started to alpha up in my first marriage, she was sitting there ranting and screaming at me about something, which was typical in that marriage. And I said, that's what we're doing. If you don't like it, there's the door. And she went, and she turned and left the room. I went, oh my God, it works. Holy shit, it works. I was shocked. Like, I've never had it end drama instantly. There was nothing I'd ever done as a monogamous beta male to make that work. I'm like, oh my God, it worked. Yeah. And we were divorced within a year later. But anyway, which was a good thing. So yes, you have to be willing to let them go.
There will be people that listen to this. There will be probably women that listen to this and go, oh, well, that's not fair. Like, how come, men get that power? I want to turn around and say women should have that power too. Is that something you agree with? And have you
Women do have that power because women can leave us whenever they want.
So is that something that you've taught to your wife? Like, specifically, like, made it clear, like, by the way, we have to both be willing to leave each other if there's deal breakers and if we don't like each other. Like,
I don't use those words. Yep. I don't use those words, but I've told her several times, not lately, but initially when we first were getting serious and got married. If you want to divorce me, you can divorce me whenever you want. And I will not give you any arguments. I will help you pack. That's totally cool. If you want to leave me, you can leave me whenever you want. I've said that to her a few times. And again, it's confusing to her because she's a girl. No man has ever said that. No man, a woman has never heard that from a man.
You're allowed to leave.
And then she'll say, you don't love me? You don't care? I'm like, no, I don't do with it. Of course I love you. I love you. Yes, I will be. You have to throw that in there. I will be sad. It will be a bad day for me, but I will let you go.
It'll hurt like hell. Of course.
Right. And you have to, when you do the OLTR talk and the talk, you have to say, if this is a deal breaker for you, for me having sex with a woman within these parameters rules, I completely understand. Yep. I will let you go. And I learned you have to add in there, I will feel bad. I don't want to let you go. I don't want to see you go. I will have a bad, it'll be awful for me, but I will let you go. So yeah. Oh yes. She is well aware.
This is
every woman I've had in a serious relationship has been well aware of that. You can leave me, sweetheart, whenever you want, and I will not give you any shit about it, which is the facts. I won't like it, but I will let you go. And women who know me well, who have dated me, or like her, they will even say, if I broke up with you, you just go fuck a bunch of more girls, and you wouldn't even care. And in the case of my wife, I would care,
of course.
But they know this. They know that's the frame I have.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
reduces the power they have over me to make demands.
It reduces you say that, but it also like yes, that, but it also allows them to, I won't say the word, maybe I will say the word, submit to the relationship. And when I say that, I mean, like, be happy in the relationship, be part of the relationship, like, surrender to the relationship. Because they're not sitting there constantly going like, okay, I got to be ready to, like, I got to control him. I have to have the power. I have to do all of this. They can kind of just be comfortable being with you. Because it's like, Caleb isn't with me because he needs me. He's with me because he wants to be here.
And flip that around. The only reason a woman is with me is because she's chosen to be with me.
Correct.
Whereas most women, especially in live-in relationships, marriages or live-in relationships, she lives with you because she kind of feels like she has to.
Yep.
That's where she lives. This is her address. This is, if she has kids with you. So her religion, her mom would get mad. So she kind of has to be there. I didn't ever want that in any of my relationships. I wanted the only reason for the woman to be there because she chose to want to be there. She wants to be there. So my wife is very good looking and is able to make her own money, high income. She does not need to be with me. She benefits from being with me, of course. She could replace me too. Now, it wouldn't be an alpha 2.0. It would be back to the typical boyfriend she's had in her past with drama and bullshit. But she could do it. She could do it.
And
she could do it tomorrow.
You could do it too. Flip that.
And obviously I could do it.
Yeah.
So we're both aware of this.
Yeah. And there's a certain, because people will look at that and go like, oh, well, that means you're not really invested in the relationship. You don't really need each other. Like, what's the point? You're not really in love. It's like, no, there is so much beauty in both people knowing that they're with each other because they chose to be. Because now they're there because it's like, I made a good decision. I'm here because you are significantly better than any other man I've ever dated. Or reverse that. I'm with you because you're the best fucking girl that I've dated so far. I've sampled, I've interviewed a lot of candidates, and you were the one that I chose to pick.
Right.
Like,
right. And you want to keep this party
that.
going. Both of you want to keep that party going. Both me and my wife want to keep this party going. I asked her, I think I mentioned this before on one video. I asked her about a year ago. I said, after we've been living together for 6 years and living for 3 anyway, I said, no, be really honest with me. On a scale of happiness, I know you're happy, but in terms of being happy with me in this relationship you have with me, is it, I think I have 4 levels. I said, is it happy, just like happy? Is it really happy? Is it super happy? Or is it like orgasmic, like you're coming every day happy? And she thought for a minute. She said, well, is there a level between super happy and orgasmic? I said, yeah. She goes, that.
That's actually the perfect answer. You don't want orgasmically happy. That's
no.
like
And that's not sustainable either. You don't want to.
Yeah,
that's dysfunctional, and that's not real. So right, I was very surprised at the answer. I'm like, oh shit, okay, great. So yeah, she has a lot of motivation to stay with me and keep this relationship going. I have a lot of motivation to stay with her and keep this relationship going. It's not that, oh, well, why bother? No, this is good.
Yeah, I know. It's like
I have the perfect relationship. I have a really good-looking wife who is okay. She doesn't love it, but she's okay with me having sex with other women, and she likes watching me have sex with other women. Why would I end that shit? Are you kidding? I got best of both worlds. It's great.
Yeah.
Why would I end that?
For sure.
Why would I go, I don't give a shit about that? No, I like it. Plus, when I was dating MLTRs back in the day before her, I wanted this. I wanted to settle down with someone in a non-monogamous fashion where my finances were protected. I always wanted this. I wasn't in a rush to do it. It took me 10 years to do it. And if she died tomorrow, she got hit by a bus tomorrow, she left tomorrow, I would be single for a few years. And then in a few more years, I would do this again. It's great. As long as it's structured the way I like. And if she doesn't like it, she can leave anytime she wants.
How did you not lose that? Like, I'm going to use the word romantic. Maybe that's a clumsy phrasing, but what you just described, that sounds romantic to me. How did you not lose that? I haven't lost it either, but there were times where I felt like those notions of romance of like, I want something long-term with someone. I want to build something with someone. I call that romance. You might have a different word for it. Because some guys get very cynical by this whole process. They will date a lot of women. They'll get their heart broken a little bit. Some relationships won't work out. And they'll be like, oh, well, what's the fucking point? I'm just going to bang bitches and that's it. Why would I build something long-term? So how did you not lose that? How did you keep focus on, this is what I want. I'm going to build this. I'm going to work towards this. This is possible.
I don't have a specific answer. I never lost it, even during my divorce. So most guys, when they go through divorces in their middle age, because I was 35, they go, fuck, I'm never getting married. Go,
Yeah.
And I was like that with monogamy. I said, I'm never getting monogamous again. I'm never making that mistake. I'm never going to have a thing where one woman controls my entire sex life. That's fucking insane. Yep. But then a little voice in the back of my head, even back then, said, but at some point I do want to settle down again. I am a pair bonding type guy. I do want that. Then I said, but I'm not doing that anytime soon. I'm 35. I'm going to spend the next 5, 10, 15 years getting laid and doing all the things I couldn't do when I was a young beta male before I was married or during my marriage and all the fantasies I had. Blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And I did that. I spent the next 10 years doing exactly that. I've lived every sexual fantasy I've ever had in my life, going back to when I was a teenager, multiple times with multiple women. So I've done all that stuff. And then I said, at some point I said, down the road in a few years, I will want to do this. Mm-hmm. And when I was ready, then my brain opened up a little bit. I say, okay, I'm ready for this. Now, when I see women, I'm going to start evaluating based on this. And maybe it'll take another 10 years, which is fine. I actually said it. Maybe I won't be into my 50s until I do this, which is fine. And fortunately, it was when I was 47 or something like that, I found her. But yeah. And then it was so I never lost it. The guys who you just described, who try a bunch of things that doesn't work and that women cheat on them, the reason is they're blaming women. It's not women's fault. It's their fucking fault. They're being monogamous and they're trying to embrace a monogamy paradigm, which doesn't work long-term, number one. Number two, they're not using any relationship management skills that work. And that includes red pill guys and pickup artist guys and guys who read this content. They have a lot of content on how to get laid. They have virtually no content on how to maintain a long-term happy relationship with a woman. Very few guys outside of me are talking. There's a few guys, not many, who talk about this. A lot of get laid material, lots of that, and most of it works. Chris's stuff is great, but there's very little relationship management. So they get laid, and then they get into relationships, and then they're nightmares. And again, I come out of the pickup artist world, and a lot of these guys are my buddies. I'm not gonna mention names. I love these guys. They get laid, but as soon as they get a girlfriend, it is a nightmare. It's a clusterfuck. It's just as bad as a beta male. In some cases, it's worse because they don't have any relationship management skills. And get laid skills and relationship management skills are two completely different skill sets that you have to learn them independently of each other. There's a little overlap, but not much. They're two completely different things. You can't just say, I'm going to marry a virgin and be alpha, and then that'll work. That's not how the world works. It's not how women are designed. It's not how men are designed. It's oversimplification. It doesn't work. So they're saying, fine, I'll just bang hookers, or fine, I'll just jerk off to porn, or fine, whatever. They're saying that based on a factually false premise. It's not women's fault. Women are a creature. They're a puzzle piece. They fit into a certain kind of piece, and you're trying to fit them into something that doesn't exist. You need to change your approach. And you're taking away your own
agency when you do that. You're saying there's nothing I could have done. It's not my fault. Women are all horrible. Like I'm be bitter and cynical. It's like that's why it's easy to
say that. Yeah, it's easy to say that. Yep. It's not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. It's women.
It's the path of
women do that with men. It's not my fault. I'm a perfect woman. Guys keep breaking up with me, and guys don't want to date me. And what's wrong with men? No, bitch, it's you. So it's the same with guys, asshole. It's you. The problem is you. That's why, again, it's the same dynamic as all these guys who think you have to be a six-pack Lamborghini guy it's easy to say that. It's like easy cop out because it's hard to say, I'm doing this all wrong. I'm going to sit down and read some books and watch some videos and take some notes and actually engage in relationships and engage with women in a different way. And then it'll probably work. That's hard. Guys want to do that, especially these days when guys are the laziest they've ever been in all of modern human history.
I don't disagree with that because the Lamborghini, the money is just like I get to avoid the problem, which is I don't know how to deal with women. I don't know how to actually get laid. I don't know how to do any of that shit. I don't know how to fucking talk to women, let alone have sex, let alone keep them around. I'm just going to go do the business shit because that's not that hard. I'm a guy. I can figure out how to make money. That's pretty fucking easy. I just have to do it. But I'll avoid the actual problem. And it's like you put it off for years and years and years. When you come back, the problem's still sitting there. It hasn't changed. You've changed, but you've changed irrelevant shit that didn't really matter. Okay. It's not that it didn't matter. It helps short, but like you haven't actually addressed the actual problem.
Because it's easier.
Yeah, for sure. And guys will listen to that. Guys will listen to that and be like, how is a Lamborghini easier? How is making $1 million easier? It's not easier. It's harder. It's like, no. You've avoided the actual problem. You were doing that out of fear. You were scared of the problem. You went over here. You wasted years of your life. Just face the
You could have been getting laid while earning $1 million. That's what I did.
You could have got laid, bro. And they're like, wait, what? I didn't have to spend 3 years working on my business. It's like, why didn't you have sex with 50 women in that time? What the fuck were you doing?
I personally know and have known, again, I come out of the pickup artist world. These are not ripped guys. Average looking guys who were literally or close to homeless. No money, no job, no income, sleeping on their friends' couches, banging chicks who were hot because they had strong game, strong confidence, outcome independence. They knew what they were doing and they put in a lot of numbers and they worked at it.
That last thing you just said is the most important. Even when I was chubby. Okay, I wasn't like hugely chubby, but I was chubby. I had like decent pictures on Tinder. My apartment had like nothing in it because I took out a bank loan. I moved to the center of the city and I said, I'm just going to I moved to the equivalent of like Times Square in New York, but in my city. And I was like, I'm going to just go hard on getting laid. So I had nothing in my apartment, like literally nothing. I had like a bed, like a mattress on the floor and nothing else. Like I didn't have a couch, no table, nothing. Girls would come in and say the same shit you said. Oh, are you moving in? And I'd be like, no.
No, I live here.
Yeah, like this is, I've
been here 2 years.
I like minimalism. That was my fucking go-to phrase.
Oh, that's so funny. I didn't say that. That was before that became a thing. That's so cute.
It's
that
some
works too.
Feng
Yeah.
Shui shit. Yeah.
And I don't know if my experience was they get you this funny look and then they have sex with you.
Yes, correct. And they might make some like smart ass comment about it later on. And you just go like, yeah, it is weird that I have no fucking, but whatever. Yeah. I'm a degenerate. I want to have sex. Who cares?
You reminded me of a thing I did on a podcast years ago, my old BlackDragon podcast, where a woman I was seeing at the time who was, I won't call her a 10. Some guys would consider a 10, 9, really good looking. And she came over to my house. I had someone got me for Christmas. I had a big, giant black Lego tower made out of Legos. And it was on because I'm a nerd at heart. And it was on a bookshelf I had in one of my rooms of my house. And this is that shitty house that had no furniture and okay. And she goes, what the hell is that? And I said, that's Orthanc. That's Saruman's tower from Lord of the Rings. And she's like, oh my God, you are such a nerd. And she said it not a joke. It was like, gross. Yep. And then within 15 minutes, we were having sex.
Yep.
It's fine. Women don't give a shit. Stop giving a shit. Stop making this complicated.
Yeah, it's just another excuse to not try. It really is that.
It's easy. It's the easy way out.
It's the same bullshit of like, I'm too short, I'm Indian, I'm Asian, I'm bald, I'm this, yes. I don't have any money, I'm fat, it's just excuses.
And those things, as I've talked about, are factors.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
They are.
For sure.
If you are not white, it is harder for you.
Of course. So try harder.
Is it impossible? No.
Exactly.
My son is black. He does just fine with girls. He does just fine. He's black.
But
it is harder.
Because he tries.
Yeah. He does everything you need to do. He puts in the numbers. He tries, doesn't make excuses. Right. There are guys in some of my coaching programs who are Indian guys, not like white-looking Indians. They look Indian and they have the accent, but they get fucking laid because they've lost weight. They do everything right. They work on their confidence. They as best they can, which is difficult, get rid of the Indian societal programming about sex and mom wants me to get married and all. And they clean up with white girls who are pretty.
Yeah.
But yes, it is harder. That's true. It is harder. Yes. If you have a bald spot, it is harder. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to discount that it's equally as easy. It's not. Still do it.
Of course.
I was overweight more than I am now, and I had to try harder, but I still worked. It worked. But I had to try harder. Yeah.
You know, that's one of your biggest criticisms, as in like, I don't know how much periphery you see other people shitting on you from the outside, because you probably don't give a fuck. But like, that's the one criticism that people give to you. They're like, oh, but Caleb's fat. And it's like, yeah, so just be less fat and you'll probably get even better results. Like if Caleb can fucking do it, just do it too. But they'll say like, oh, he's fat. I don't believe anything he's saying. It doesn't count.
Guys don't, if they don't believe me, guys who say that are complimenting me.
I know, in a weird backhanded compliment way without realizing it.
If you unless you think I've literally been making all this up for the past 14 years, which I don't know how to do.
That would be impressive.
Yeah, that'd be like Lex Luthor level of genius, which I don't have. Yeah. I don't know how that's even possible. And I say that about other guys who I don't like in the pickup artist world who've been talking about this stuff for years. They're probably not lying. There's probably something what they're saying, because how do you make this stuff up for 10 years?
With that much detail, anyway, for sure.
Right. And so unless you think that, I don't think most people don't, then if you're saying I'm ugly or fat or what have you, you're giving me a compliment. If I was really good looking and had ripped six-pack abs, what would those same guys say? Well, of course he's getting laid. He's good looking and gets six-pack abs, so I can't listen to the thing he says. Those same guys would be saying the exact same thing. Matter of fact, I've seen historically, not recently, some of those guys say that about other guys who teach dating advice. They'll say, well, I'm fat, so, but then they'll say, well, but so-and-so is good looking and ripped. Well, of course he gets laid. So which is it?
And then they'll flip it and they'll also say, well, Caleb has lots of money, so that's why. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, and that's accurate now. That's true now.
Sure. Bro, I've had that. I love how I just called you bro. I said at the start, you're the fucking dad equivalent. I just call my dad bro. That's very fucking
God, okay.
I'll call you sir. Sorry,
sure,
sir.
That's fine.
I've had that. I've had people say like, girls are only with you because you have money. It's like, for fuck's sakes, I've said on my website, I had negative dollars for the vast majority. It's only in the last year that I've had any amount of money. And they'll say, your girlfriend's only with you because you have money. It's like, when we met, I was in negative and she knew that. Like, how is that? But people just come up with excuses as to why Caleb is special.
Most of the last 14 years, either I had little money or I spent little money. I came out of a divorce, lost a lot of money. Mm-hmm. I spent, my entire system was spending the minimum you can on women. 1/3 of my first dates, going from first date to sex, was cost me $0.
Yep.
The ones that actually cost me money, 2 dates cost me an average of $28. Mm-hmm. That's the entire thing. I don't spend money on women. And they come over to this shitty house in this 8-year-old car. Now, today, that's not true. Today, it's true, but I've been doing this again for a long time. So, yeah. Again,
that's kind of
it's easier.
It's kind of what you're dealing with as a content creator. As like people will take the end result, like the person you are now, and then go, oh, that's probably what you were doing when you were like 15 years ago. It's like, in what world is that? There's evidence that I wasn't like that. You've just like skimmed on the surface and gone like.
And to be fair, I don't know how many of those guys know I've been talking about this for 14 years. They may think I'm new on the scene, and
yeah, that's why I said it's a very.
He's been on YouTube for 2 years. He's just some new guy. So of course, and I don't know. Maybe they don't know that, or a lot of them do. I don't know. I'm just trying to be objective again. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they think I'm new at this. I don't know. Who knows?
Newbie. So
Don't care.
We'll start sort of wrapping up. What are your goals for the future? Like for the next 10 years, goals before you goals before you die, goals before you achieve death. There you go.
I got a lot. I reread them every morning. So I don't want to give you financial numbers. Most of my goals are financial. I'll give you an overview. So when I turn 54, maybe 53, I switch into the next phase of my life. I have a 2-phase mission. And so when I click into age 54, hopefully sooner than that, maybe sooner, I'm going to back off on my work hours, and I'm only going to work because I enjoy it, not because I need to make money. So right now I work for the money, and which is fine. I like money and I like working. I'll never retire though, because I think that's stupid. So when I hit 54, I'm going to switch over into a new system where I'm only working because I want to work, because I enjoy the work, and I want to express myself in the marketplace, and I won't care how much money I make. So that's the next big phase I'm working on now. And in order to get there, I need a certain level of lifestyle, a certain level of net worth, certain level of residual income I want from my investments, real estate, things like that. 3 or 4 companies I'm working on. So I'm working very hard right now to make sure I hit that by 54. I'll probably hit it before 54. I mean, things are going pretty well, but there could be a huge recession next year. Who knows? So we don't know. So that's the primary goal I'm working on in terms of my overarching, what I call vision of all my goals. That's the primary thing I'm working on now.
I like that.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? CalebJones.com, guys.
CalebJones.com. We're splitting out the brand right now in Alpha Male 2.0 and Sovereign CEO, but CalebJones.com will get you to both.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to shout out? You're also on YouTube. I'll shout that out. But is there anything else that you want to shout out, or anyone you'll want to shout
out? No. I have a lot of courses. I have a lot of books. I have a lot of programs.
A bunch of my guys are reading your shit. One of my guys, the moderator on my forum, is it the SMIC program?
Yes, that's one.
Yeah, he's in that right now. So he's building his own
great.
shit.
Okay, great.
No,
if really they make sense to you, check them out. If they don't, that's fine too. But I teach long-term masculine happiness through long-term masculine freedom. It's a lifestyle model that is very different, but I know for a fact it works, and it'll make you happy if you're willing to put in a year or two of work. It's not free. You got to put in a little work, but it's not as, and my attitude is if you have to put in 1, 2, 3 years of work to improve your woman life or your business life, and then you benefit from that for the rest of your life. So today, 14 years later, I'm still benefiting from those 2 years I spent optimizing my woman life back in 2007 to 2008. That's a really high ROI. So it makes a lot of sense. Same thing with starting your own location dependent business. If you got to put in 1, 2, 3 years of your life to get that spinning, where you have location dependent income for the rest of your life, that's pretty good. People go, oh my God, 2 years? Dude, you're going to live to be 100. 2 years? Nothing. Yeah.
Such an easy investment as well. Like working on your dating life, working on your money life, working on, like your 5 flags thing, location independent. Yeah. Such an easy investment. Yeah. Well, it has been an absolute joy talking to you. I really freaking appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I was a little bit fangirly at the start because like you have had a huge impact on my life, and I really, really, really genuinely appreciate that. I really do.
Love it.
And I appreciate you coming
Glad
on.
I could help. Awesome. Had a great time.
Thank you so much.